Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and in this video I'd like to discuss how Reform UK's net zero policies may need a little bit of work. Not because attacking net zero is both economically and environmentally moronic, but because their new policies are unlikely to be appealing even to their supporters. In order to move against net zero, they have plans, get this, for a new tax just for farmers, which should go down like a bucket of cold sick, as well as raising energy bills for the rest of us. I don't know about you, I'm not entirely convinced that's a vote winner. But first, for daily political commentary, please hit the subscribe button to stay notified. So, being shills for multinational corporations, Reform UK are of course never wanting to miss an opportunity to attack moves towards more secure, clean, cheaper energy. Got to keep their paymasters happy. Part of this is to attack net zero as something that will cost jobs and make us poorer and colder. The reality, of course, is the opposite. It's where the jobs of the future are. Labour are creating a lot of new jobs with their GB energy plans, and those jobs are spread around the country, not just clustered around London. In fact, it's a major plank of the real levelling up strategy that the Tories talked big on and delivered nothing. But clean energy is also cheaper than fossil fuel energy. This is why I was able to point out that Reform UK MP Rupert Lowe is installing solar panels on his farm to cut electricity costs. But Reform UK, rather than just banging on about net zero being bad and waving their arms vaguely in the air to talk about how they will stop it, decided they should have some policies. I'm not sure this is wise. Populists tend to be on firmer ground when they just promise certain outcomes without saying how they're going to do it. Kemi Badenoch is avoiding detailed policies like the plague. She's just talking about outcomes. Her latest is to say that we should massively boost defence spending, despite it being her party who actually crashed it in government, but she hasn't bothered to say how we should pay for it or how she would pay for it. Just like all her other spending policies. She says, we're going to have to wait a couple of years before she announces details, which is unfortunate because her MPs are planning on getting rid of her before then. But Nigel Farage decided, no, we shall have a policy. It might actually be his first policy ever. And he certainly made some beginner mistakes. So let's take a look at this policy. So he claims that in government, he will end net zero. But how do you do that? Yes, he could cancel the country's net zero targets, sure. But industry is moving towards low carbon anyway. By the time he can, even in theory, decide national policy, the UK and the world will be even further down that road. So Reform UK have announced how they're going to do it. First of all, they're going to clobber farmers. The problem they've decided is that we have solar panels. So they're going to tax farms which have solar panels. Bit awkward, as I've said, because Rupert Lowe has a farm that's getting some solar panels and battery storage, so Farage plans to hit him with extra taxes. But more than that, every farmer. So despite cosplaying as Farmer Giles a few times over the past few months and saying how he's on the side of the farmer, he's just announced that he is going to invent a completely new tax just for farms. And the purpose of this tax is beautiful. It's a tax on trying to save money for farmers, because they only levy the tax if you're trying to generate your own cheaper electricity. So Reform UK and government would give farms a choice: pay more for your energy or get taxed extra. And you know what? I know not all farmers welcome Nigel Farage when he thinks he's Mr. Ben at one of their rallies, but plenty do. And they'll still welcome him the next time he turns up looking like Toad of Toad Hall. Some farmers are just so Tory, they'll cheer them even when they're promising to make them pay higher taxes. But then I got to thinking, well, why just tax farmers if you're going to have a pop at solar panels? Why not put this extra tax on people with solar panels on their houses? I suspect the reason is that Reform UK aren't really targeting rural areas. They pretend to be on the side of farmers, not because they're after the rural vote, that's of no value to them, but because they won't miss an opportunity to get involved in any media event where he can get a few column inches. But taxing people in the constituencies he is targeting, that might be a suboptimal strategy. Although he is planning on doing that anyway, just in a more stealthy way. His next policy is to apply a tax to energy producers who use clean methods of generation. It's basically the same policy Rishi Sunak used. Do you remember when we were calling on him to apply windfall taxes in order to keep energy bills down? We meant on oil companies, not renewable energy companies. He got a bit confused and he hit renewable energy instead. And our bills didn't actually get any lower. They doubled in price. Easy mistake to make. Well, not being put off by the consequences of Sunak getting the policy a little bit wrong, Farage has decided that this is what he should do. Another brand new tax, like a carbon tax, I guess, but in reverse. With this policy, you pay for producing clean energy that doesn't result in massive profits for investors in Dubai or Moscow. But the result of this would be to make the production of energy more expensive, which will put energy bills up for the rest of us, of course. So Reform UK's approach to coming up with practical ways to tackle net zero will be to create a new tax to levy on farmers for trying to reduce the amount of energy they draw from the national grid, and then make the cost of bills for using the national grid increase as well. Oh, and they also said we should put all power lines underground. So, as well as adopting a Rishi Sunak policy, they're adopting a Green Party policy as well. Now, I'm not sure if they meant all power lines or just new ones, but either way, as we're told every time the Green Party tries to talk about this, that costs 10 times as much. But it also makes it more expensive and disruptive, including to repair and maintain. Like there was some work on cables and pylons near me recently, went across the motorway. The motorway remained open. This would not occur if they had to dig up the roads to get at the cables. And as I say, just laying them underground would also close the roads off and cost 10 times as much. Are you going to pay for it, Nige? With that tax on farmers, it's going to have to be a hell of a big tax. I don't know about you, I can poke one or two holes in these policies. Pretty sure even the Tories would be able to come the election. Think they may need a bit more work. That being said, I should probably point out that according to LBC, Reform UK, before I could even get this video out, have already downgraded these ideas from party policy, which is what they were a few days ago, to direction of travel is how it's been described. In other words, they've decided Kemi Badenoch is onto something and have returned to vague waving of arms in the air about outcomes, but details of delivery, we'll get back to you. Which makes you wonder if they will even have any policies at the next election, if this is the sort of quality they're capable of. But there we are. Those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. If you've enjoyed the video, please click the like button and subscribe for further content. If you'd like to support the channel further, you can click the join button for memberships. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I'll see you later.